Put your phone down, not next to you. Down, out of reach. Now don't touch it. Not for 10 minutes. Sounds easy. It's been 6 seconds and somebody watching this already glanced at it anyway. You know who you are. Comment guilty right now if that was you. And yes, that means picking your phone up to type it, which is exactly the trap. But we'll get there. A small piece of glass and metal just won a fight against your own willpower in under 10 seconds. It doesn't even know your name. And what if that's not an accident? A few years ago, researchers strapped tracking software onto people's phones and just watched. No judgment, no warnings, just data. And what they found made even the participants uncomfortable. Most of them guessed they checked their phone around 20, maybe 30 times a day. The actual number was sometimes over 100. Not because they were addicted, not because they were bored, because they genuinely did not notice they were doing it. Humans check their phones far more than they think. And the gap between what we believe and what we actually do is where this whole mystery starts. Meet Dave. There's always coffee on his shirt. Nobody knows how. It's never the coffee he's currently drinking. Dave is not addicted to his phone. Dave will tell you this personally, with total confidence, while picking his phone up for the 11th time in the last hour to check if anything happened in the 4 minutes since he last checked. Here's where it gets stranger. Watch 100 people in any coffee shop in America, and you'll start noticing something. The phone check isn't always about anything. No notification. No buzz, no reason. The hand just goes, like a reflex, except the thing it's reflexing toward is a glowing rectangle full of other people's lunch photos. Scientists have a name for this. They call it a phantom check. Dave's phone could be dead, sitting in a drawer in another room, in another building, technically in another tax bracket, and his hand will still drift toward his empty pocket out of pure muscle memory. One study found a huge chunk of phone checks happen with zero external trigger. No sound, no vibration, no light, nothing. So if nothing is calling Dave, who's making the call? Most phone checks are automatic. Dave's conscious brain isn't even in the room when it happens. It's like his hand unionized and started taking unscheduled breaks. And it gets weirder. Ask anyone. Have you ever unlocked your phone and immediately forgotten why? Almost everyone says yes. Dave does this approximately 9 times before noon. He picks it up, he unlocks it, and now he's just staring at the home screen like it personally owes him an apology. This isn't a memory problem. It's a wiring problem. Dave's hand started the action before Dave's brain finished the thought. The behavior came first. The reason came never. Somewhere, a tiny version of Dave is standing in his own skull going, wait, why are we here? People regularly unlock their phones with no goal at all. The motion is the entire destination. There is no arrival. It's the human equivalent of opening the fridge, staring into it for 4 seconds, and closing it without taking anything. Except you do this 200 times a day with a phone instead of leftovers. So what's actually driving this? To find that out, we have to go inside the brain. Not metaphorically, literally. Grab a flashlight. Picture the brain as a control room crammed full of tiny workers, each one assigned a job that mattered enormously 100,000 years ago and has not been updated since. One guy's entire job is scanning for danger. Another scans for food. Another scans for social information. Who's an ally? Who's a threat? Who liked your post? Who very obviously saw your story and didn't reply. There's also a guy whose entire job, for some reason, is making you remember an embarrassing thing you did in 8th grade at 2 a.m. specifically. Nobody knows why he still has a desk. These workers have been doing the exact same job since long before phones, before cities, before written language, before Dave. And they all share one deep, almost violent dislike. They hate not knowing. Uncertainty to this ancient control room doesn't feel neutral. It feels dangerous. A rustle in the grass might be wind. It might be a predator. The early human who assumed probably nothing and was wrong didn't get a second guess. The one who got anxious about every single unknown rustle and checked anyway, that one survived. That one had kids. That one is the entire reason Dave exists, currently refreshing Instagram in a Target parking lot. Now, quick break from Dave for a second. You watching this right now, be honest. How many times have you checked your phone since this video started? Don't lie. We both know your screen lights up your face the second a notification hits. The brain hates uncertainty so much, it would rather overreact 1,000 times than underreact once. Quick contrast. Dave has a coworker named Priya who wears her earbuds around her neck at all times, like a tiny technological necklace, even when nothing is playing. Priya read one article about phone addiction and now leaves her phone in the car on purpose, which her coworkers find deeply suspicious, like she joined a cult that only has one member, and the one rule is the phone stays in the Honda. Priya is not calmer. Priya is just anxious in the car instead of at her desk. The uncertainty didn't go away. It relocated to the parking garage. Now take that ancient, twitchy, uncertainty hating system and hand it a notification. A notification is a perfect concentrated dose of unresolved uncertainty in your pocket. It might be your boss. It might be your crush. It might be your mom sending 14 photos of her dinner with zero caption. You don't know until you look. And that not knowing is exactly the itch those tiny brain workers were built to scratch. So the danger scanner, the food scanner, and the social scanner all sprint to the same tiny buzzing rectangle and start yanking emergency levers like the building is on fire, over an email about Dave's car warranty expiring for the 400th time. A notification feels exciting specifically because it might matter. The maybe is the entire hook. Here's the part that should make you suspicious. This exact pattern, you don't know if this will pay off, but it might, already has a name in a completely different industry. It's called a variable reward. It's the entire engine behind slot machines in Vegas. You don't pull the lever knowing you'll win. You pull it because you might. And the uncertainty is precisely what makes you pull it again. And again. Researchers have shown that rewards delivered unpredictably create stronger, stickier habits than rewards delivered every single time. A guaranteed payout gets boring fast. A maybe payout gets obsessive. Casinos figured this out before psychology had a word for it. They just called it Tuesday. Picture Dave standing in front of a slot machine the size of a refrigerator. Instead of cherries and bells, it's spinning little phone icons. The lever is shaped exactly like his phone. Dave keeps pulling. The house, as always, is doing fine. Somewhere behind him, an actual casino employee is taking notes, mildly offended that a free app is out addicting his entire building. Priya is somewhere nearby, smugly sipping a green juice, watching this happen. Her own phone, sitting alone in the Honda, lights up with 11 missed calls. She will sprint to the parking garage for it the second this video ends. The mechanism inside a slot machine and the mechanism inside your notifications panel are structurally the exact same mechanism. One just has worse carpet. That should be unsettling on its own. But it gets worse because slot machines were designed by humans for humans on purpose. And so were your apps. Engineers and behavioral scientists were openly hired to study this exact kind of unpredictable reward. Then they built it straight into the products sitting in Dave's pocket right now. Pull to refresh. The little red dot. The slight delay before a message shows as read. That delay is somehow the most stressful 3 seconds of Dave's entire week. More stressful than his actual job, which he also does on his phone, badly between checks. None of that is a technological accident. Each one is a small, deliberate rebuild of the same uncertainty machine that keeps a gambler glued to a stool in Atlantic City. Modern apps didn't invent a new kind of temptation. They reverse-engineered an old one and pointed it directly at your oldest instincts. Then hired people with psychology degrees to aim better. Now stack one more thing on top of all this. For nearly all of human history, information was rare and expensive. A piece of news might travel by foot, by horse, by ship. You might live your entire life only learning about events happening 50 miles away. 3 months late, possibly from a guy on a horse who also got the story wrong. The brain evolved in a world starving for information, where any new fact could be the difference between eating and not eating, surviving and not surviving. Today, Dave is exposed to more information before he finishes his morning coffee than someone a few centuries ago encountered in an entire year. Messages, headlines, videos, 14 strangers' opinions about a sandwich, 3 of them unhinged, all arriving faster than any human nervous system was ever built to sort. Dave's caveman ancestor needed 1 good piece of intel a week to survive. Dave receives 1 good piece of intel never, but but gets 700 notifications about a sandwich. The brain that evolved to crave information is now drowning in an ocean of it, and it still has not figured out how to stop drinking. Worse, it's convinced the next sip is the important one, which leads to something happening right now that Dave and you are personally a part of every single day. There is a war being fought over your attention, not someday, not abstractly. Right now, during this exact video, while you decide whether to keep watching or check what Priya's phone was buzzing about. Every app, every platform, every notification sound was designed by a team whose actual job performance is measured by how long they kept your eyes glued to a screen. You are not the customer to most of these products. Your engagement is. You are the terrain the war gets fought on. And you didn't even get a flag or a little plot of land out of it. Quick one for the comments. What app gets you the worst? Not the one you use the most. The one that, if you're honest, makes you feel a little gross afterward, and you still open it anyway tomorrow morning. The competition for human attention is constant, extremely well-funded, and explicitly engineered to win. Dave is not fighting a fair fight. Dave is fighting a fight that has its own quarterly earnings call. Quick gut check before we land this. You've been watching for a while now. The Dave bit, the Priya bit, the comment guilty moment. None of that was an accident. This video used the same uncertainty trick it's describing, and it worked on you. That's not an insult. That's the proof. So here's the question this entire investigation has been circling. Why can't humans stop checking their phones? Not because people are weak. Not because Dave specifically is weak, even though Dave just checked his phone again in the middle of reading this sentence. Not because something is uniquely wrong with anyone. It's because a smartphone is a single object that simultaneously triggers the danger scanner, the food scanner, the social scanner, and the uncertainty itch, all at once, dozens of times a day, using a reward system that is structurally a slot machine with a better screen resolution and noticeably worse odds for your free time. The phone isn't controlling the brain. The phone is speaking the brain's native language. Fluently, constantly, on purpose. For most of human history, a single new piece of information could change everything. Where the food was, where the danger was, what the rest of the tribe was doing without you. The humans who paid close attention to every new signal were the humans who survived long enough to have descendants. You are descended from the ones who couldn't stop checking. Congratulations, it's genetic. Today, the information never stops arriving. But your ancient brain still reacts to every new ping as if it might be the one that finally matters. The one that changes everything. The one you cannot afford to miss. So before you finish watching this, be honest in the comments. How many times do you think you've already checked your phone today? Not guessed. Counted if you actually pull up your screen time and look. Because if a device that fits in your pocket can quietly hijack instincts older than civilization itself, and a video about that device just did the same thing to you for the last 15 minutes, what else in your life is shaping your behavior without you ever noticing it's there? Somewhere right now, Dave's phone just buzzed. He's already holding it. He doesn't know why. And somewhere in a parking garage, Priya is sprinting full speed toward a Honda. You, somewhere, just thought about your phone again. Yeah, that one too.